Miller and Surtee and Kavanaugh are attending telephonically. Chairman Goodman is out and about somewhere.
Yes, Chairman, and just for the record, if we can get their confirmation, Supervisor Kavanaugh?
Here.
Supervisor Miller?
Present.
And Supervisor Surtee?
Or not.
Supervisor Surtee?
We still have quorum without.
We still have a quorum without Supervisor Surtee, but he was on the line. Supervisor Surtee, if you're muted, if you can unmute and just announce your presence.
Here.
There we go.
Thank you, Supervisor.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. First on the agenda is item 1, discussion, approval, disapproval of the fiscal year 2024-2025 property tax levies and rates for all governmental entities of Pinal County in accordance with ARS 42-17151 and 42-17254. Ms. Woods, you have the floor.
Good morning, Vice Chair McClure, members of the board, Angie Woods, Director of the Office of Budget and Finance. I'm happy to be here this morning to present with you the property tax rate and levy comparison, along with the agenda item to adopt and certify the rates in accordance with the statutes. Before I go into this presentation, I would like to acknowledge this board, our treasurer's office, our assessor's office, and my staff in Office of Budget and Finance. This is obviously a collaboration of teams together, and they've done this year after year. And I just want to acknowledge that the work that has gone into this process and thank them each personally. So with that, I'll move forward with a short presentation. So on the slide we have here is last year's countywide average rates in fiscal year 23-24. These are produced and presented by the ADOR in their final abstract. We'll later this year receive a similar type slide for the 24-25 after all of the counties have adopted their rates. You'll see here Pinal County with the highest combined primary property tax rate, so it's all of the primary property tax rates for jurisdictions in the county. Same ranking as last year. And then secondary rates for all taxing jurisdictions at $3.41. Statewide, you can see there that those averages continue to decline. So this is our typical county property tax dollar. And in comparison to last year, this slide is exactly the same. So overall, the county percentage of the tax dollar is 26% or 26 cents. School districts making up the majority of the tax dollar. And then obviously our Central Arizona College, our special districts and cities and towns thereafter.
Ms. Woods, just for a quick question. So looking back at, don't have to go back, but looking back at the secondary property tax rate, and you say school districts are the high number here because they have their own, but they have their own tax as well as their secondary bond taxes and all that. So that's really what's making up that large gap, making us one of the highest in the state.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And here are historic primary property tax rates. I show you this, first of all, to compliment you and show you the achievement that has happened over the last 4 years with this board. You all started your 4-year term with a property tax rate of $3.75. This year, the property tax rate that you've adopted or will be adopting is $3.45. That is a total of 30 cents decrease, and quite an achievement, if I could say. Percentage-wise, the percentage of the max rate, we're in the same ranking as we were last year at 64.5. It was very, very similar last year. That means that in order to get to that max rate, there's an additional about $71 million that you could have taxed our residents and chose not to. So very, very good thing there. The bottom four counties that are on this list, you'll see that they are taxing at the max rate. And then the next slide, you'll see that any changes in their rates are essentially due to the fact that they're taxing at the max.
And those counties that are taxing at the max are very low rates, but basically because they're ag, they're vacant.
That'll.
Can check. Okay.
I can point that out in just a moment. So this is the property tax rate comparison. My office, in this rate comparison, they are very, they make effort to make sure that the consistency in the things that they're comparing are relatively the same. So we're including, for the secondary rates, we're including things like our countywide library district, our countywide flood districts, those types of things to have some consistency there for comparison. Here you can see the statewide average for the adopted primary rate is $2 really at 20 cents. Adopted secondary rates at about 56 cents. Combined, that's $2.76. Pinal County, like I said, $3.45, and then about 25 cents on the secondary. So we're still above the average. However, we're obviously reducing that every single year. That 3% reduction change from the previous year is 11 cents. The others on here that really make a difference or aren't taxing at the max and that are having a reduction in rate is Yavapai, Maricopa, and Greenlee. Yavapai, that 4% is really, in cents, is about 7 cents. Maricopa, that 4% decrease is about 4.5 cents. And then Greenlee is less than a penny, that 1%. So just to give context to that percentage decrease. The 19% there for Graham County, while that seems like a huge thing, it's really, the 19% is really in comparison to, because they cannot statutorily, they're at their max, so statutorily they cannot tax at a higher rate than that already. This is primary net assessed value per capita. So this is the net assessed valuation, and this goes to Vice Chair McClure, your question a moment ago about the amount of money it takes to levy per capita. And here again, we're third lowest in the state. Takes a lot higher net assessed valuation here to in comparison to population to garner that levy. So it's really the same ranking as last year. Any questions? Follow-up questions?
Gentlemen, any questions on the phone? Surdy?
No.
Millard? District 1?
No.
District 1?
No questions.
Thank you.
This slide, and then moving on, is adopted primary levy per capita. So adopted per person, how much levy per person. We're same ranking as last year in comparison to the other counties, remain at 10th. And I've been showing you this slide for a couple of fiscal years just to give you an idea of the makeup of Class 1, 2, and 3 valuations. So in this, not much has changed. However, I did want to point out that our Class 1, the commercial, what we would consider commercial, increased by 1% of the total, and then Class 3 and 4, what we consider residential, reduced by about 1%. So overall, that net assessed value increased in the commercial and decreased in the residential overall. Primary property tax burden. This is our population's ability to pay the levy that you are about to approve. In fiscal year 10-11, when we began to strategically plan our property taxes, we were at the second highest primary property tax levy burden as a percentage of personal income in the entire state. And now,
because we're poor down there. We're poor people. We're just poor folks is all we are.
Is that Supervisor Miller? Okay.
So now we're at the 10th highest. What that means is our aggregate income has increased over time. Our primary property tax levy has also increased, but the population has increased as well, so it's doing balancing out. So the lower that percentage is, and right now it's at 0.61%, the lower that percentage is the more affordable this becomes for our constituents. And then I just have a summary slide here. So just to recap, the county has the fourth highest primary property tax rate in the state, $3.45. County has fourth highest combined property tax rate in the state at $3.71, and we have the third to lowest primary net assessed valuation per capita in the state. That's all I have for today, unless there are any questions.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Any questions? Supervisor Surdy?
No, are you ready for a move?
I will if there are no questions. May I get a motion, please? I'll ask you. Okay, Supervisor Surdy, you have no questions. Supervisor Miller, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Kavanaugh, any questions?
I have no questions.
Very well. May I get a motion, please, on this item? I didn't hear that.
I move to accept the presentation as presented.
Thank you, Supervisor Miller.
Surdy will second.
Surdy, second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
It'll be a roll call. Hang on just a second.
Supervisor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Supervisor Surdy.
Aye.
Vice Chairman McClure presiding as chair.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Woods, and Budget and Finance team. All right. Item number 2, discussion, approval, disapproval of resolution number 081924-CTO of the Board of Supervisors of Pinal County, Arizona, relating to taxes levied in common school districts not within a high school district.
Good morning, Vice
County
Chair.
Treasurer.
Mike McCord, Pinal County Treasurer. I'm still getting over a cold, so I'm going to allow my Chief Deputy to explain to you the motion that's before you.
That's good, because on my script it says presenter is Ms. Monroe, so not you.
Vice Chair, Mr. McClure, and the Board of Supervisors. Kelly Monroe with the Chief Deputy Treasurer for the Treasurer's Office. Have a resolution that's in front of you for the type 03 district, and it's just merely to give us permission to go ahead and send the money that we've collected this past tax year and send it to the state as presented.
Okay. Are there any questions? Board. Supervisor Surtee?
No questions.
Supervisor Miller?
No questions.
Supervisor Kavanaugh?
No questions?
Okay. If there's no questions, may I get a motion, please?
Mr. Kavanaugh, I move to approve item 2 as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
From Supervisor Surtee, that sounded like. So I have a motion and a second. Those in favor? Roll call, since we're on the phone.
Supervisor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Supervisor Miller?
Aye.
Supervisor Surtee?
Aye.
Vice Chairman McClure presiding as chair.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion to reconsider item 1 because I think the motion given may have been improper.
Ms. Kennedy? Okay, hang
I
on.
may explain, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Kavanaugh, please explain your reconsideration.
Supervisor Surtee said he motioned to approve the presentation rather than the item as presented. It may be that the motion was insufficient to encompass the actual text of the
Okay.
item.
A semantics issue. Okay, so let's see. Ms. Kennedy?
I didn't make the motion. I was the second.
That's true. Supervisor Miller. Go ahead, Ms. Kennedy.
Just for clarity, Chairman, we can reconsider the item.
All right.
So take a motion to reconsider first.
May I get a motion to reconsider item 1, please?
So moved by Kavanaugh.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Supervisor Surtee, second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor? Roll call because we're on the phone, please.
Supervisor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Supervisor Miller? Supervisor Miller?
Uh-oh.
Aye.
Supervisor Surtee?
Aye.
Vice Chairman McClure presiding as chair.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay, so we've had the discussion of item number 1 and the presentation, and so now I'm looking for a motion, please, on item number 1.
Kavanaugh, I move to approve item 1 as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Supervisor Surtee, I believe, seconded. I have a motion and a second. Those in favor, please, by roll call.
Supervisor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Supervisor Miller?
Aye.
Supervisor Surtee?
Aye.
Vice Chairman McClure presiding as chair.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Unanimously. We are now, we have conducted business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Everyone else has left the call.